Hi, my name is Leslie Williams, and I'm aware that you can't see me very well. Understand this and be clear. The point that you can't see me very well is not what's important. What's important is what I'm going to say in this video. Fellow Americans and fellow citizens, I have been the target of organized stalking now for 10 straight years, non-stop, every single day, in 4 states. And I've come to understand a lot as a result of what I've been through, and what I've discovered, what I've been educated about. And so I'm just going to get right to the point. This is going to be a tidbit file, and I believe there's going to be enough tidbits in this particular video for you to research, for you to get an idea about where I'm going and what I know. I'm going to be naming certain descriptive points, and it's up to you in order for you to research them. Number 1, it's called the Black Awakening. Check it out. 2, Neural Decoding. YouTube it. Everything I describe, YouTube it and Google it extensively. The Trip Chair. What was that guy's name? Shoot. He does, you can find him by going to YouTube and typing in MK Ultra Universal Soldier. Oh, shoot. I just remembered his name and now I just forgot. To help you get an understanding of what's happening to me. Remote neural monitoring, electronic harassment, neural decoding, remote neural monitoring, influencing and stimulating, data packets. And if you understand RFID, if you want to understand how data packets and RFID work together, research and come to understand neural decoding. And James Rink, Trip Chair. Remember the movie Total Recall? Yeah, that's a trip chair. That's where you're put in a chair and you can't move. Then they inject you with a bunch of stuff and you go on a trip. My name is Leslie Williams. I'm a target of literal mind control, remote neural monitoring, influencing, and stimulating, RFID technology, data packet transmission. And if you want to understand what I'm talking about as far as understanding that, to get a preliminary introduction in reference to you being able to understand what that is do 2 things, and it's going to blow your mind. John Hall, he's got a book called The Satellite Terrorism, and he does some videos online that you can find. You might be able to find the new information that he's releasing. They're called data packets, and they work directly with the RFID implantation. And what they do is basically they do 2 things that I'm aware of right now. In the neural decoding, they can literally decode your the resonance frequency of your brain. Okay, and as a result, they're able to literally piggyback and modulate their frequencies down in order for them to transmit cloned EEGs that are on the same frequency wave spectrum back into a target's head. Now, understand this. In the neural decoding, they can literally synthesize within any neural decoding. In the neural decoding, they decode you neurally. Okay? When they clone a EEG, what they can literally do is insert data packets that are full of information based on the wave spectrum spikes of a specific person's neural decoding bioelectric frequency, and clone EEGs that run on the same operating bioelectric frequency and retransmit them back into the target's head. As a result, these data packets are full of information. They can literally morph your voice to where, and I don't know if they infuse that within the particular cloned EEG transmissions or not, or if they just, once they got an active data pack transmitted and stimulated, which means it's active, they might interlace a voice morphing to coincide with the directional behavior, motor cortex behaviors that are cloned within the EEG that are transmitted back to the target's brain. In other words, it's basically nothing but literal mind control, where they can literally mind control you. Whatever is cloned and transmitted is stimulated, and all those thoughts, emotional states, behavior patterns, brain states, and motor cortex associated behaviors are acted out in real time. And they're transmitted and stimulated underneath the perceptual radar, so the target has no idea they're being manipulated. My name is Leslie Williams. I'm a good person. I'm a decent person. I'm a federal and state whistleblower. You would not believe what I know, and they know I know it, because I'm not only being monitored neurally, but all my communications are being monitored, rerouted, intercepted. That includes landlines, cell phone lines, and all my email communications and cyber activity. I do what I do because my life is no longer my own, in two realms, because they have control of me neurally, at least in reference to interrupting me to the point to where I don't have the cognitive processes to effectively negotiate additional options that might be out there for me. And they're intercepting all my communications for help and manipulating some places that I might actually go to for help. I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever I have federal government involvement in this, and they are totally 100% protecting it and containing the exposure. Hang on a second. The only thing I can do is brief the public on the factual realities in reference to truth. All my life I wanted to be a police officer, okay, and all my life I wanted to be in the military, and they knew that I had these types of personality attributes. So they're literally transmitting data packets, and also reinforcing it with particular movies that they entice me to watch, like Act of Valor. There's been a Safe House. Oh, by the way, in the beginning of the movie Safe House, or if you go to YouTube and type in Safe House and look at the trailer that's about the movie Safe House, right in the beginning of that movie, it literally shows him putting a Vero chip USB adapter into a device. Vero is the Vero chips that are used for RFID, okay? And when he plugs the device in to the little, it looks like it's a handheld device that's scaled down to where it's the same size of a smartphone. You can see data packets appearing on his screen. Hang on a second. There's a squirrel here. Now what we have to understand here, I think it's a squirrel. That's a weird looking squirrel. Yeah, it's a squirrel. Anyways, he's leaving. Anyway, so what we have to understand here is that my name is Leslie Williams, and I'm being manipulated by the federal government, who has implemented these campaigns towards me. I believe it's because they know that I'm extremely right-brained, which means that I don't think with language. I think in pictures, which means that I have a hard time using internal language to negotiate any manipulation, to identify it for what it is in order to tag it with a word. And that includes also emotional states, and they know it. That's part of the reason why they picked me, and it's probably part of the reason why I already know for a fact I've been manipulated my whole life. I already know it for a fact. My mother's almost flat out told me. My dad was in the military. He was Chief MP to Curtis LeMay. You would not believe what I know. You would not believe what I know. And I'm being manipulated like you would not believe. Again, go to YouTube and type in the Black Awakening. Do it. Also go to YouTube and type in MK Ultra Universal Soldier. I'm not a violent person in any way, but I am being extremely provoked along my path through organized stalking, because organized stalking is always attached to these types of mind control expeditions. They're done to keep a target in line. They're done for brain entrainment. In reference to the provocations, what they do is identify and mark the responses of that you have when you're being provoked. They identify and mark those responses, and then will stimulate them in real time for any continued theater that is brought about towards a target in reference to a provocation theater, which means that when they provoke me along my route, they're not doing nothing but creating a theater. They know what my routes are. They get along my routes, and they bring about a deliberate production towards me, a provocative production, an intimidating one. And then what they'll do when I'm in the midst of that is literally stimulate an old thought process that I had when I was provoked at an earlier date. Okay? Like say if someone comes up to you and threatens that they're going to hit you or even rape you, what do you think your thought processes are going to be? Fight or flight. Yeah, but it's all over the internet that organized stalkers box you in. Yeah, Google that and YouTube it. So if they box the target in and he can't run, he's going to fight. Yeah, this is what I mean. And so what they'll do after a brutal assault, what they'll do is get along a target's path and provoke them through direct conversation tactics that they're going to be assaulted again. Okay. They take the psychological profile of a target, which means that, like, since I'm a woman, I'm white, I'm 125 pounds, they'll put black guys along my path, they'll put Mexicans along my path, or white punked out looking people along my path, and act intimidating and provocative, okay, and hyper, okay, in order to be able to keep me in a hyper vigilant mode that I might be attacked again. And in turn, I might have thoughts about how to deal with that, okay, and when I have those thought processes, those responsive thought processes, they identify and map and mark that neural mapping of that associated of those associated to evoke potentials. And then what they'll do is stimulate those responses in a theater they bring about on a different day. Okay, and this is done in part when they want to try and either box a target in who's an extreme whistleblower that cannot be provoked outwardly. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you the truth about what's happening towards me. This is literally what they do: remote neural monitoring, remote neural influencing, remote neural stimulating, neural decoding. James Rink, the trip chair. Google him. You can YouTube him. You can usually find him over. You can usually find him at YouTube by typing in MK Ultra Universal Soldier. Now, in these expeditions, you are going to hear about UFO stuff. Understand this and be clear. The UFO phenomenon is nothing but a projected disinformation campaign by the government in order to be able to steer people away from the fact that this technology and all these manipulations are being done by the government, because there's a lot also involved in this as far as the Blue Beam Project. YouTube that. Understand this and be clear. These individuals are into augmented reality. Go to the FBI webpage, and type in their search box remote neural monitoring and look at what you get. Augmented reality. I make these YouTube videos in order to help people understand, in part, flashpoints and tidbits that do build a whole if you do the extensive research about what's happening towards me in San Diego. I have literally had holographs projected towards me in Dearborn, Michigan, in San Diego in 2006, and again here in 2011 and 12. They just used augmented reality on me on the very day I discovered it on the FBI webpage over at USD. My name is Leslie Williams. I make these videos in order to be able to help people understand what's happening towards me. I gotta stop because I just heard somebody talking.